morning, everyone, and welcome to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist at Adobe. I almost forgot what my title was. I'm so excited to kick this off again. It's been quite a while, a few weeks since the Daily Challenge was last ended, unfortunately, but we're back. We're back with another 2 weeks of amazing challenges. I hope you're all doing well. I'm streaming right now from lovely, thankfully, finally sunny Los Angeles. I'll be in San Francisco next week. It better be sunny then. It was all raining last week. It was, ugh. I grew a beard. Hello, Cameron. Welcome. And if you're joining me live on Behance, let me know who you are. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love hearing where people are from all around the world. We have Gladstone and Ahmad and Dagny. Everyone's commenting on my beard. I also have glasses today. They're not prescription. They're just there for blocking out the amazing, not so amazing, blue light that's blasting my face from my computer. Anel, welcome. Anne and Ash and Myra. All these awesome people joining us for this XD Daily Challenge. Many of you are probably brand new to Adobe XD, and this is going to be really exciting because what we're going to do is every single day this week and next week, we're going to be kicking off a new challenge. And you may have seen today's challenge, but if you haven't, I'll show you in just a minute. And really, this is for you to build up your skills as a designer in Adobe XD and just honestly, just as a UX and UI designer in general. And look at all, oh my gosh, Manhattan and Malaysia and Scotland and South Africa, Italy, I can't even keep up. Tennessee, this is awesome. Brazil, so many places that I've never been to that I want to be there. I want to be to all these places, maybe one day. And thank you for all the compliments on I've been lazy. I just haven't taken care of this. We'll see. Maybe I'll keep it. So let me hop over to my screen for a second. Boop, there we are. I'm in the corner now. So here is the XD Daily Challenge landing page, behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge. And here you will find our big old register button. Many of you have pressed this register button already, but if you haven't, definitely press it. I haven't, because I want to show you what it looks like. And this will give you notifications via the Creative Cloud app every single day that a new challenge is live, so you don't miss out. And then how does it work? Well, we have a nice step-by-step down here. Each day you're going to receive a challenge. Pretty straightforward. And then you're going to join me and my beard every morning at 8:30 a.m. to kind of kick things off, see what you can possibly do with something like this. And then you're going to be creating a prototype using Adobe XD. It does say Photoshop because that was our last one, but we'll get that removed. You could use Photoshop a little bit if you need to, but it's mostly Adobe XD. But you also want to add the keyword XD Daily Challenge. And this is important because this will allow me to go over to Behance and I can go on, everyone's commenting on my notifications. Yeah, I have a lot up there. So I can go in here, XD Daily Challenge, and we can see all your amazing prototypes that you create and you publish to Behance, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. But I can sort this by most recent, and then every single day when we kick off the new challenge, I like to highlight a few of them that really stood out. And then at the end, next Friday, we're gonna look at a lot of them, which is gonna be fun. So, and you have until February 1st to complete online challenges. And of course, this is just for you. This isn't a competition. You don't have to do every single one, but if you really want to improve your skills, I would recommend it. Keep doing it. So, and you can watch a video on how to kick things off. Usually on Mondays, we kind of kick things off with a longer stream introducing you to Adobe XD, but because yesterday was a holiday, we're kind of shoving everything today in a half an hour segment, so I should probably talk a little bit faster. You can download XD for free, and then you can also join our Slack community, which is just booming. So here's our Slack community. There's 11,647 people. That's insane. From all over the world, Barcelona and Philly and Russia and Seattle. You can ask questions if you run into problems or you just want to know how something's done. You can chat, you can get feedback, all this fun stuff. And then down here, if I refresh this page, we will see, whoop, there we go. Pull to refresh. That is today's challenge. So we're going to be kind of introducing you to auto-animate, some designing tips and tricks. And, I'm going to show you how this is done. So let me hop over to Adobe XD. Here we go. There's Adobe XD. And this is the template that you're going to be able to download right from that landing page created by the amazing Marissa Blair. So thank you, Marissa, for these amazing templates. It's we took your feedback on the last templates, and we've added a bunch of new things, including icons and some elements that'll help you kind of get started. But of course, if you kind of want to do your own thing, you're more than welcome to just hop over to this artboard over here and start designing. So what are we doing? Again, we want to design and prototype a pull to refresh experience for a photo sharing app. And you have a bunch of resources over here, but because we're short on time, I'm not going to go over all of them, but we also have some inspiration. So you probably use Instagram, you probably use some of these other apps that you can just kind of pull down on the top and it refreshes. And that's kind of what we want to do in this example. And down here we have some, there we are. We have some elements that you can start off with. We have some headlines, and we have some titles, some colors, and what's really cool about Adobe XD is you have the assets panel. So right now I'm in my layers panel, but if I go down here to the bottom, and you can see this little lovely icon at the bottom, that's your assets panel. You can also access it with the Command-Shift-Y shortcut key. Boop, there's our assets. Right now it's very lonely. So let's add some things. So let's say I really like this color scheme of these colors right here. I can select these colors. I can simply press the plus button beside colors. It's going to automatically add those to my assets. If I want all of these, let's say I want to use these throughout my document, I can do the same thing for character styles, and they're all added there. And I can go through and very easily just double click. This is, let's say, headline, and I had them all selected, so there we go. Headline, title, you get the idea. So you can go through and just basically rename them all very easily, very quickly. But the really cool thing about using assets in Adobe XD is that if, let's say I use this color here throughout my entire document, so I have that one there, and let's say some of these icons, I make this color as well, and maybe this will be that color, and a bunch of different things across my entire document are that color. And then my creative director comes to me and says, you know what? I'm not liking that color, change it to blue. Traditionally, that'd be a bit of a pain. I have to go through every single element and change it manually. Well, in XD, all I have to do is right-click on that color in my Assets panel, press Edit, and then change that to blue. And you're noticing all the little elements that were once red are now blue. So it's very cool. Assets panel is very handy in Adobe XD, and you'll learn more about that as we start designing. But we're short on time. Let's start designing. So we're going to be doing a pull to refresh interaction in Adobe XD. I'm actually going to save a little bit of time, I'm going to grab this title bar that's available right here. I'm simply going to copy it, head over here, and paste it. I'm going to move it up to the top, and this is an iPhone 6, 7, 8 screen. And Gabrielle says, creative director equals a voice in my head. It's so true. And let's say I'm going to name this, what's a good photo app? Let me know in the comments what we should name, we should put for a photo app. But for now, I'm just going to put photo app. It's not very exciting, but it'll do. All right, so there we go. So we have that, and the next thing we want to create is basically something like this. I could just grab this and copy it, but what's the point in that? We're actually going to create it, and we're going to use some really interesting features in Adobe XD. So to start, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool from the tools bar on the left and simply drag out a rectangle across my document. It's okay if it goes outside the bounds. You can always snap it if you need to. Snap up. We've got some interesting names already coming in. Face you. I'll take a look at those shortly. I'm going to turn off my border, and just to see it against the background, I'm going to make it a little bit darker. All right, there we go. So next up, what do we have here? Next up we have, okay, I'm going to actually grab this. I'm going to move it over here so I can see it, just to kind of reference what we're working on. So you can see how this is created. We want to have a circle, and I'm going to grab a circle, just draw it out here. This is going to be a little profile picture. Pop it right about there. And then I'm going to turn the border off. And right now, this is all placeholder. It's going to get really fun in a second. I'm going to grab my text tool and type out someone's name. Michael Lee. And this is a point text because I simply clicked on my artboard to create a text. But what's really neat is we have this little handle right underneath point text. And I can simply grab that, drag it up, drag it down, drag it all around, and make it either big, small, and I can place it right about here. I'll make it white so we can see it. And then right underneath, we want search icon or a location icon. So if I go to my icons over here, where is a search icon or a location icon? Here it is. And I'm actually going to turn this into a symbol. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my assets panel, which I'm in right now, and press the plus button beside symbol. This will allow me to very easily reuse this asset throughout my entire document and also keep it up to date if I need to. So back over here, I should have moved that over, but that's okay. I'm simply going to grab that symbol, drag it out. There we go. That's looking pretty good. It is a little bit big, so I'm actually going to ungroup it for now and resize it down. Beautiful. And then underneath, I can duplicate that text layer with my Alt or Option key held down, just dragging it down, and San Francisco. And I'll make this a little bit smaller. Fantastic. And I can turn this into a symbol again. This is the smaller. So this is, let's say, location, large, and location, small. There's so many comments for capture. Capture is a good one. I find, you know what? Let's do capture. That was good. Simple. Good job, Tatiana. Thank you. So, okay, so we have basically, let's do San Francisco, California. All right, perfect. So we have a profile, we have a name and a location. We need a heart underneath. So I'm going to go over to my icons, grab my heart, copy, and paste. I'm going to drag this right underneath so it lines up, and we have these awesome smart guides in Adobe XD. As you're dragging things around, you're noticing it's telling me that this is now centered with the profile icon, or if we move it over here, it's now on the left. So it's really neat how you have these smart guides. You can just enlarge this a little bit. There's the heart icon, and we need a bookmark icon. You know what? I'm just going to grab it from here just to make things simple so I don't have to scroll over there. Move this. Again, those smart guides are telling me exactly where this should be lined up. Beautiful. That looks good. And then right underneath, I'm going to add some more text. 20 likes. Make it nice and dark. There we go. All right, I'm going to leave it at that because we are running out of time. We do have an amazing lineup of Adobe Live Photoshoppers coming up right after this. So I have basically this card at the top, which is going to house our photos. We want to duplicate this down our artboard. So I'm going to select all these elements right here. If I hopped into my layers panel right here, I'm going to put them into a group. So Command or Control G to place them into a group. Name this photo card. And traditionally what we'd have to do at this point is basically, duplicate this down, add some elements, duplicate it again. It's a pain. But with repeat grids in Adobe XD, it's so much simpler. So I'm going to press the repeat grid button right over here to the right. And that's going to add these little elements, these little handles to the right and the bottom. And I can just drag out additional cards down my artboard. And if I want this artboard to be scrollable, I can click on the artboard, drag this down. So now I have several cards, and I can, let's do one more. Just drag this down the artboard, and now it's scrollable. And I can grab the handle. This is my viewport height. Drag this down. So now I have a bunch of cards going down. But here's where things get really exciting. If I hop over to Finder, I have a bunch of images in stock. And let's say I want to basically put a bunch of images inside of this repeat grid. Well, all I have to do, let's go into my Places folder. Let's say these images look really nice. Grab these 4 images and just drag them into Adobe XD. And you're noticing as I'm hovering over these elements, they basically allow me to mask these images. And I can drop them, and it automatically populates the entire repeat grid. Let me do the same thing for some photos. So these little profile pictures, I can do that, and it populates it. So now I have very easily, I've completely populated this repeat grid just by dragging some images into Adobe XD. But it also works with text layers. So there's my email. That's not good. I have a meeting soon. It also works with text layers. So if I go back over here, I have a text layer with a bunch of names. I can drag that on top of this text layer, and it did the exact same thing. And the same thing for places. There we go. So we now have a bunch of different places. Now, the time comes where we animate this thing. So let me move this over. Let me move this repeat grid up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this artboard over to the right. And at this point, I basically want to have a drag effect. So when this is dragged down, there's a little pull to refresh. I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to hop over here and grab a refresh icon. This one looks good. Isn't that repeat grid amazing? And the text format, it's a plain text document. And you can just drag that directly into Adobe XD and it does its thing. So I'm going to paste this over here, place this in the middle. I can also use these icons up here to just boop right there, and it places it right in the middle. And I can make this a little bit larger. And there we go, put that there. Now it's good to keep in mind that when you're using auto animate, the same elements have to be on both artboards. So I'm going to make sure to place this. Let's rename this refresh. I'm going to make sure to place it below my photo card. I'm going to copy it and paste it on this document as well, just so it's in both artboards. And then put it right below the photo card. So now we have it in both, right? We can actually start wiring this up to create a drag effect. So I'm going to go into my prototype mode at the top, click on the repeat grid, and then drag this blue handle right over here to the right, to this artboard. And instead of tap, we want to drag trigger. And auto animate is great. We don't need to worry about easing. And this way, when I press play at the top, I can preview this prototype. So all you have to do, you can scroll down, you can see all the cards that we created, and I can just click and drag down to reveal that refresh icon. But that, you know, it probably needs a little bit of animation at this point. So what we're going to do in this artboard here, go back into design mode, I'm simply going to rotate it right up here, 360 degrees. You're probably not noticing much of a difference because it's basically the same thing when you rotate it 360 degrees. But if I go into my prototype again, as I'm dragging down, it's now rotating. Pretty neat. So now that that's done, we basically want a timed transition to go to another artboard that rotates it even more before something else happens. So I'm going to duplicate this one more time, and you can also duplicate an artboard by having it selected and then Command or Control D. There we go. And on this one, I'm simply going to grab this, instead of 360, go back to 0. And that was right up here where the rotation is. Now to create a time transition, I'm going to go to Prototype, select the entire second artboard, because time transitions only can be, you can only have a time transition on an entire artboard. I'm going to drag this over to the third artboard. Make sure to select time. I don't want any delay. I want it to happen immediately. It's going to be auto animate, and let's go for an ease out. So at the end, it kind of slows down. And we'll do, let's say, 0.8 seconds. We can always change that if it's too slow. So here we go. So I'm going to drag down, and I haven't let go yet, but when I do let go, it's going to automatically go to the next artboard. And it's going to rotate, it's going to slow down, and then something else has to happen. So in this case, what we want is, there's two things that we could do. We can either have, basically, this go back up to the top if there's no new photos, and that would allow us to do basically this. We can drag this over. Time transition, 0-second delay. We can have it snap into place, nice and quick. Here we go, let's see how this looks. Drag this down. It rotates and it snaps into place. But we can also have another photo come into place. So let's do that. Let's have a little bit of fun while we have some time. So I'm going to drag this over. Let's actually duplicate this photo card. Duplicate this. And I just want one. So just like that. So here's a new photo card at the top. Let's find another image I can put in there. Let's say this image looks good. Pop that in. I can override the names if I wanted to. Howard Pinsky, that is me. The profile picture. Do I have a good profile? I'll just use this one. That is not me, but I'll just use it for the meantime. So that will basically be the new card that comes in from the top. So I'm going to grab the repeat grid from behind it, move this down just like that. And again, like I mentioned before, let me name this new card. Like I mentioned before, you have to have the same elements on the two artboards that are transitioning from each other when you're using auto animate. So I'm going to make sure that this is below the header, so it kind of slides in from the back. I'll move the header to the top actually. Move this, make sure that this is also up there. All right, perfect. Now I'll grab this new card, grab it, move it onto this artboard, and just move it, make sure it's behind the header. There we go. And just move it up here, right? Perfect. Actually, not this artboard. It's this artboard. Here we go. So I move the header up. Gotta also make sure your layers are all nice and organized. Paste it. Make sure it's behind the header. There we go. So now, in this case, we're gonna go back into prototype mode. And instead of going to this artboard where there's no new photos, we're gonna go to this artboard over here where there is a new photo. We're gonna use the same transition and let's see how this looks. So I'm gonna press play. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna drag down. It's gonna refresh and a new photo is gonna slide in from the top and end our lovely interaction. And at this point, what we're able to do is under the share menu at the top, we can share for review, share for development, do a bunch of different things. But what's nice is you can share it for review. Let's name this pull to refresh. I can allow comments if I want people to give me feedback. And I'm gonna publish the public link, which is going to allow me to share this link with friends, family, stakeholders, developers, whatever it might be. But for all of you who are working on Behance, what you're able to do is grab this guy right over here, copy the embed code. Now at the moment, auto animate and the drag feature will not work on Behance, so you can record a video from Adobe XD on your Mac or using Game Bar on Windows. But you can also embed it directly on Behance. Again, the drag effect won't work at the moment, soon, hopefully. But that allows people to kind of, see it, give comments, give feedback and things like that. And then you can publish it on Behance and just, like I was saying, if you press play, you press this lovely record button at the top, you can record it, do your animation, end the recording, save it to Behance along with some photos and all that fun stuff. So that was Pull to Refresh for day 1 of the Daily Creative Challenge. Definitely go over to Behance over here, grab the template, take part in this awesome challenge, publish it to Behance, and use the hashtag XDDailyChallenge so that we can find it. And hopefully all of you really picked up on some tips. Again, usually we do a 1-hour show on Mondays, but because of the holiday, we tried to squeeze everything in to today. But over the course of the next 2 weeks, you're definitely gonna learn a lot. There's gonna be a lot of different challenges to kind of push you in different areas. And I really encourage you not just to replicate what I did here, but do something a little bit different. Kind of use that pull to refresh in different ways. And very quickly, a shameless plug, if I go over to Dribble, just for a second, I did create something. Where is it? My pull to refresh animation. Here it is. So this is kind of something you can do with animated paths in Adobe XD. You can just kind of pull down, you see the little snapping animation at the top. So you can do things like that as well. So I definitely encourage you to use auto animate in different ways to do something interesting. And if you are into things like Photoshop, stick around because Adobe Live is coming up in just a few minutes. There's me. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:30, kicking off day 2 of the Creative Challenge. And I believe Nathaniel Dodson is coming up in just a few minutes, doing some really cool Photoshop stuff on Adobe Live. So thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And I will see you all tomorrow morning, and definitely stick around for Adobe Live. We'll see you all later.